Two Sheds Gabby back again for another box of pennies. Looks like this time I've got the end of the paper roll, all these white ones. Okay, I'm back again. And you're saying, what in the world is Two Sheds up to now? I've been inspired to do something that one of you guys kind of mentioned in one of your letters to me. I thought it'd be kind of fun. I've weighed each roll. And the lightest roll is 128.8 grams. There was actually 9 rolls that weighed exactly 130 grams. That was kind of weird. But it moves up. There was 5 rolls that weighed 131.4. And it just moves all the way up. 132, 133. And then I had 2 rolls, one of them 135.6 and one of them 136.5. It's like, those clearly are going to have the most copper in them. I've even wondered if maybe there was a couple of older Canadians, since they weigh the most and they're a heavier gram, and there's more copper, 98% copper. Anyway, it's going to be fascinating. In here, one of them has a wheat penny ender, but I forget which one it was. But there is one wheat penny ender in the bunch. I'm not going to open up every single one and say, well, this one had this and this one had this. But I am going to open the lightest one and see how many copper coins and what is in it. And then we'll open the heaviest one and see what that one is. And just, for the lightest and the heaviest, and somewhere in there, I'll just go ahead and start opening them up like normal. I may just probably come from the lightest and work my way up, hoping that means that the second half is going to be considerably better than the first half. Hopefully that's what that means. But let's weigh the lightest and the heaviest, and I'll get back with the results. I'll show you. Well, here's the results. The 128.8 had 4 copper pennies in it, and the 136.5 had 18 copper pennies in it. No wheat pennies, no Canadian or nothing, just 18 copper pennies. And so we'll probably guess that everything else will be in between, but hopefully we'll get a few Canadian. I know we're going to get one wheat penny, but hopefully we'll get a few more than that as well. This box came from the bank that I did a few weeks back that did really good, but it's been a few weeks and they've got new coins in, so chances are it's nowhere near whatever circulation happened to go on that week. Here's our start. Well, I got my first wheat penny in one of the lighter rolls. I don't remember how many I told you I had of the 130 grams. There's 9. I thought I said 10, but there's 9. And this is from there, 1957, my first wheatie. I did have a Canadian in a roll earlier, but it was not copper. And so I'm going to, let me show you what I'm doing here. The lighter ones I'm putting over here. 120, I had 4 coppers, 129, 6. And I'm going to open up all of the 130 gram and see if they all have 7 or if there's some variation of how many copper there is. Then this side is the heavier ones down to the lighter ones. And we'll just see how it goes. Kind of fun to me, just something I've never done before. I'm not going to have any 82s to weigh at the end because I'm weighing them all as I go. So I can put down each roll how many copper coins they had. The first roll of the 130 had 7 copper. We'll see if each one has 7. Seems like they would, but I'm sure there's some variations of things along the way. I guess I'll count the wheat pennies as a copper as I write them down. I'll weigh some of the 83s as I go. And we still ask ourselves why. Well, that one had 7 as well, including if you include the wheat penny. The second wheat penny comes from one of those rolls that have 130, one of the 130 gram rolls. And it is a 1945 Philadelphia. It's 2 wheat now. These 130 gram have had 6 or 7 copper pennies in each row. Not all exactly the same, so yep, this one is 7, and they've been consistently 6 or 7 each one. Well, I am actually halfway, a little bit over halfway through the box, I think just barely. And here's my first Canadian copper. I'm still just at 2 wheat pennies. This was probably a good box to do this test on, because otherwise it's not all that exciting with what I've been finding so far. This is where they had already transitioned to the older Elizabeth profile shot. 1867 to 1992. I think I'm going to get my 3 pounds. I'll show you my little chart here. You can kind of see what you think. Let me get through this row, see how many we get. And like I said, I'm weighing all the 82s right now. That one is zinc. I still haven't come to that wheat penny ender, so at least I got that going. So this row, let me back up a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 in that one. Here's where I'm at. So this is the lesser side. It started at 4. It's worked all the way up to, I've got 2 rolls to do here in a second. The 131. Hopefully I'm going to be getting into the 9s the rest of the way. Over here I started at 18 and I'm down to 12. Even though the last row only had 11. But I think, you need 8.5 per row to get the 3 pounds. And I think, even though we was a little bit shy, through here, we were way over here. So I think we're in pretty good shape to say we're going to get, because pretty much all the rest of them, there may be a few more 8s left, but pretty much all the rest of them are going to be 8 to 11 anyway, like 9, 10, and 11. I feel pretty confident I'm going to get the 3 pounds. Hopefully I'll show you a couple more wheat pennies as we go too. Ole, okay, let me show you where we're at, what's going on. There's 11 rows left to go in the box. Man, we're still just at 2 wheat pennies, which is pretty terrible. I still have an ender over there somewhere, so I know we're going to get 3. But here's where we're at, and I have these numbers over here to the side for a reason. Each one, it shows what each row, how many they got in each row. And see, we're already down here to where they're all getting 9 or more. And these are working their way down, but they're still at 11. So it looks like all the rest of these are going to get between 9 and 11 unless there's something weird. But that's where we're at. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term counting cards. I read a book about it many, many years ago. It is a way to go to Vegas and play blackjack and have the odds in your favor. The professionals that used to do this years ago have long been since kicked out of Vegas. But for years, they would get like college students that were pretty sharp mathematically, teach them how to count cards and send them in, tell them which casinos have like the single decks, the big boots that have 10 decks in them. I guess they may all do that now, but they used to have single decks and then they'd play the deck and then reshuffle. And those are the ones where they would do the card counting and they would teach these college kids how to do it and they'd split their winnings at the end of the day. And eventually the college kids would get picked up on it by the guys with their cameras watching, and then they would get kicked out too. and it was just an ongoing thing. Because when the casinos have a right to kick out anybody they want to, and when they see that you're figuring out how to play a game with odds in your favor, they kick you out. That's just how it works. Anyway, counting cards. You assign a number to each card. You got to be fast as these cards are going through and you're watching all the cards that are played. You not only have to be fast, but you have to be subtle. You can't be looking over at theirs and going 5, 6, 7. They'll immediately kick you out. You have to be subtle about it. But as the cards are being played on the table, you assign cards a number. And when you're approximately halfway through the deck, if the number is lower than the number that you assign for the even point, that means that the second half of the deck is going to have more face cards, and you double your bets for the second half of the deck because there's more odds of you getting blackjack, where they pay time and a half or double or something like that to increase your odds of winning. So I said all that just to kind of show you that's kind of what I'm doing here. Each roll needs to have 8.5 copper pennies in it on average, for the whole box to have 3 pounds. And so I've assigned each one the number. This one was 4.5 short, 2.5 short, 2.5 short. All of these added up were 16.5 short. You catch my drift. But over here on the other side, this one was 10.5 over, 8.5 over. So you get my drift. So by the time I finish this page, I know there's 11 rolls left. But we had a minus of 28.5, but a positive of 61, which means we're well over what we need to get the 3 pounds. And since the rest of them are going to have 9 or more, my 3 pounds is pretty much in the bag. That's my point of the whole thing. And that was kind of the whole thing behind all this weighing each roll and that sort of thing, kind of figuring out before I'm finished if I'm going to get my 3 pounds or not. Like I said, I won't be doing this more in the future. I just thought I would do it this time. Let me open up the rest of these. Hopefully I'll show you a couple more wheat pennies and maybe another Canadian. I have gotten 3 of the 2009 memorials. So let's get these last ones opened up and we'll see what we end up with. We're down to 5 rolls after this roll, and I finally get wheat penny number 3. Still haven't gotten that ender yet. 55D. I'm weighing all my 82s. Copper. And so now I'm getting down to every roll is like 9 or 10. I'll probably speed this roll up just so that try to keep the video pretty short. Weigh that. zinc. I'll probably throw that one in my nasty jar. Copper. Oh, there it is right there at the end. There's my ender right there. 1957D. Well, that roll only had 9 in it. Just one roll to go after this one, and I will be done. But here's wheat penny number 5, a 1945 Philadelphia. I am so glad that this is the box that I did this with, because otherwise it would have been pretty boring looking for the Canadian and the wheat pennies, because they're just not in here. Also, a correction, that last roll that I said had 9, it did have 10. I forgot that I had already set the wheat penny up over here on my mat where I put my wheat pennies. One roll to go after this one. That roll had 10. Well, here's weigh-in time. I've finished only 5 wheat pennies and 1 Canadian copper tonight, folks. That's crazy. That's not real good, but it's way below my average. But it's weigh-in time. According to my calculations, I'm definitely above 3 pounds. Not a lot over. 3 pounds, 2.5 ounces. But it's over. Okay, that's it. That was a little bit fun. It was kind of interesting. Won't do it again. And where's my dimes? I haven't had a dime in a long time. I'm still just at 19 for the year in my coin roll hunting. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time around. I think I'm going to go get a box of nickels. Haven't done that in a while. We'll see you.